I was born in the US, but we moved to Nigeria when I was 2. So I was 10 before we moved back to the US. And when I came to the US, I hadn't been steeped in this like white dominant, white supremacist, like white centered culture. I had to learn that starting from the age of 10. And it's like, it's a different experience, right? Because I remember not having to think about these things for the age of 10. And then I remember having to learn how to navigate these waters. And I feel that from my kid. Like, I want to give her what I had pre, you know, and I can't. Like, there's no good way, you know, it's whatever, right? But
can we take a moment to acknowledge what you just said? Because I don't want to pass that up. I don't want to speed past that. Just, do you hear what you just said? When you said that, my heart, like, it started to feel heat, because I have never in my entire existence, and there are not many of us who can say that, which is where the African American and the African connection is so real. We have never, as an African American, not been able to be in a space that is not white centered. So wow. Yeah. So like, mind blowing. Wow.
Yeah.
We went to an HBCU.
And that was the closest that I got to it here. I was like, oh my God, finally.
I get to breathe.
Thank God I'm with my people.
Like, people don't understand what homecoming is about, bro. People don't understand the HBCU experience. It's because even though I am in the middle of America, like, I get to center Blackness and all its messiness. Because let's be real about what being African American, being Black is in America. It's messy as hell. It's a mess. Going back to even what you were saying earlier, it's like, even the example of the cash registers. I don't want people to assume that every cash register you ran across was white, because they probably wasn't. It's even Black cashiers. It was like, hey, do you mind stepping aside? Because even we learn to center white people. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I do not want to pass that up, because this is an excellent segue into racial trauma and mental exhaustion. Not only
talk about it.
Go back and forth between how do we center ourselves and our needs, and then being pushed out from the center, because we go home to our little cohorts and our little bubbles of Blackness in our house. We got Black Twitter. What up?
Yeah. Hey.
We have always created for ourselves.
Yes.
And despite trying to create spaces for ourselves, there is always the white entitlement of asking, well, why aren't we allowed? Why can't? The most ignorant thing I ever read was when a white person said, well, why do they have HBCUs? Person? White person. Shows just what you don't know. We have
Read something.
We create our spaces. So how traumatizing is it to have to go back and forth? That baggage that you're talking about is the racial stress that we experience. From 10 years old on up to now, you were immersed in racial stress. That's what that was. Because you were knocked out the center and forced to learn and engage in a system that told you that you were no longer in the center. Right. That's what you were told. Yeah. Somebody else is more important than you. That's the message you get all the time. Yeah. Somebody else is more important than you. And then every time you try to fight, right? Or every time you try to recenter yourself, or every time you try to focus on yourself, the white-centered environment always presses on you, right? Yeah. So like I said earlier, the U.S. surgeon said in 2000 that racial mental health disparities were connected to racism. There was a whole paper written in 2007 by Robert Carter, published on the emotional injury of racism. Wow. In 2020, they have finally said, not everybody, but some people, that racism is a public health crisis, y'all. So all the little things that you were talking about, that baggage that you're talking about, we all carrying it. We're just dealing with it in different ways. We are constantly experiencing, going back to the microaggressions, we are constantly experiencing slight threats and injuries. They're slight. And what I mean by slight is they're like, sometimes they're subtle, and we experience more of the subtle ones than we do well, I shouldn't say that. Some of us are privileged enough, because that is a privilege, to not have to face a larger, more immediate threat every day.